I was all set to confess my feelings to Amelia, who was widely considered the sweetheart of our school. In the opulent hotel suite I had rented for the occasion, I was making the final adjustments when my phone buzzed with a notification. A strange app I didn't remember installing had sent me a pop-up. I saw a comment appear on what looked like a live stream. "Poor guy," it read. "He doesn't even know it's Amelia's twin sister Victoria who's coming. Swapping identities? What fun." My blood ran cold. More comments flooded the screen. "Amelia's in the control room watching the show. I can't wait to see Victoria pretend to be her sister, accept his confession, and then reveal everything. He'll cry his eyes out." A plan formed in my mind, a bitter and swift reaction to their cruel game. Playing dumb, I decided to wait for the fake Amelia. When she arrived, I looked at her with feigned sincerity and said, "Amelia, I'm sorry. The truth is, I've always liked your sister, Victoria. Everything I ever did that seemed directed toward you was because I was imagining you as her. Even today's confession was planned because I was thinking of her. But now I realize I can't do that anymore. I can't use you as a substitute for the person I truly care about." My words hung in the charged air. Victoria, who was pretending to be Amelia, looked completely shocked. In the hidden control room, as I would later learn, the real Amelia shattered a glass in a fit of rage, bloodying her hands before storming into the room to confront the scene she had so carefully orchestrated. I stood in the suite's luxurious bathroom, a knot of excitement and anxiety tightening in my stomach. The person I had a crush on, Amelia, was about to arrive. She was a girl who seemed to have everything: an impeccable family background, perfect grades, and stunning looks. I had been working multiple part-time jobs for months, saving every penny to make this confession absolutely perfect. I had booked the best suite in the city and filled it with what felt like a forest of her favorite flowers. After turning off the water in the sink, I was ready to step outside and wait for her when my phone began to buzz incessantly. I looked down and saw that a junk app had mysteriously appeared on my home screen. A strange feeling, a premonition of sorts, washed over me as I opened it. It was streaming a live feed of a flower-filled, empty private suite that looked identical to the one I was standing in. Scrolling comments popped up on the screen, buzzing with a cruel sense of excitement. "Poor guy, doesn't even know Victoria, the twin sister, is coming," one comment read. "Swapping identities, this is fun stuff." Another one followed. "Amelia's in the control room watching. I can't wait till Victoria pretends to accept his proposal, reveals the truth, and he cries." More messages appeared. "These sisters sure know how to play their games. I can't believe they'd waste this much money just to amuse everyone." Clutching my phone, I stared at the screen in disbelief as gold-lettered comments slid by, indicating they were from VIP users. "Eager to see this. I know the backstory," one of them said. "Amelia once saved him from bullies, and he fell for her. He thought his crush was hidden, but Amelia knew all along. I worried she might fall for him, but then Victoria came back from abroad, found out, and suggested the switcheroo for kicks. Amelia didn't hesitate to agree. She even nudged him to confess. Who can say these girls don't know how to play?" I gripped my phone tighter, the words feeling like ropes tightening around my throat, suffocating me. Disjointed memories suddenly connected in my brain. Moments with Amelia that I had cherished now seemed tainted and cruel. My father owns a company, but it's nothing compared to the powerful families that Amelia's circle belongs to. I'm not the favorite son at home. Everyone knows my mother died when I was young. The day after her funeral, my father brought home his other family. My stepmother moved me from the master bedroom into a tiny, damp room in the basement. I was a young master in name only, living more like a servant in my own house. At school, this made me an easy target for bullies. "Leo, I'm doing you a favor," they'd say while roughing me up. I could never seem to break free. But one day, Amelia appeared, looking annoyed. "Hands off, pack it up," she ordered, and the bullies scattered, flashing her fake, sycophantic smiles. I looked up at Amelia, my eyes red and watery, and managed to thank her. She stood tall above me, a small, almost imperceptible smile on her lips. "Need my help?" The wind lifted the hem of her dress, a simple moment that made my heart race. From then on, nobody bothered me. I started watching Amelia from a distance, knowing we were worlds apart. I was content to just silently like her. Then, one afternoon in an empty study room, she sat down next to me. "It's noisy on the rooftop," she said. "I'll just nap here. Wake me up when you leave." She seemed aloof, yet my heart pounded in my chest. Sunlight streamed through the window, and I moved my book to block the glare from her sleeping face. "How long have you been doing that?" she asked, waking suddenly and catching me off guard. Her eyes were deep and searching. "The fruit candies and the hangover candy in my desk, they're from you, right? And the good luck charm?" I panicked. I left the fruit candy to cheer her up, and the hangover candy because I knew she frequented clubs. She was born with everything, the best of the best, but I still wanted to be kind to her, even if she didn't need it. The charm was something I got from a temple, a prayer for her safety after I heard she had survived a bad car accident. I kept quiet, fearing what would happen if she knew the truth. Amelia just smiled lightly. "Leo, do you have a favorite season?" I hesitated. "Summer, maybe." Amelia gazed at me warmly. "I like winter, but I wonder if winter likes me." In that moment, all the noise in the world vanished, leaving only the sound of my own heartbeat. It was because of those words that I decided to confess. I thought, I truly believed, that she might like me too. But it was all just a game. A cruel piece of entertainment manipulated by her and her twin sister. She had known all along how I felt. Yet she turned my genuine affection into a spectacle for everyone to watch. My phone buzzed again, snapping me back to the present. "He's still not out of the bathroom. Victoria should be here soon. Can't wait to see him cry after they trick him," a new comment read. I turned off my phone, looked at my reflection in the mirror, and a cold smirk spread across my face. Cry my eyes out? Not a chance. "Amelia, you turned down my affection. Now I'll make good use of your little game." I put my phone away and stepped out of the bathroom. I didn't bother trying to find the hidden camera. I just surveyed the beautiful suite, thinking about how foolish I had been. The door swung open, and in walked a young woman who pulled her hair back to reveal a face identical to Amelia's. She was classy and beautiful, a masterful actress. But the vibes these two sisters gave off were fundamentally different. Whenever Amelia looked at someone, there was a subtle air of superiority, not overwhelming, but enough to make you feel a bit of pressure. The person standing before me now, however, was Victoria. Her gaze was that of someone who was used to getting her own way, someone a bit more rebellious and wild. "Leo, did you set all this up?" Victoria asked as she stepped closer, scanning the room. Her eyes fixated on a corner for a few seconds, where I assumed the camera was, before moving on as if nothing had happened. I pretended not to notice, smiling at her warmly. "Yeah." Victoria's eyes landed on my face. "Leo, you said you wanted to tell me something today. What's up?" I blinked, feigning a moment of shy ignorance, and then called out, "Amelia?" I saw her eyebrows lift slightly in surprise. I took a couple of steps forward, my expression shifting to one of guilt. "Amelia, I'm sorry. The truth is, it's actually your sister, Victoria, that I've always liked." Victoria seemed genuinely puzzled, as if this was a turn she had not anticipated. I continued, my voice trembling slightly for effect. "Everything I did, all the kind things I tried to do for you, I was just imagining you were her. I planned to confess today, thinking of you as her, but now I realize I can't keep lying to myself. I can't see her in you anymore." The room went so quiet, it was unnerving. Victoria remained standing, breaking the silence after a long pause. "Leo, what kind of game are you playing? You claim you know Victoria, yet you say you like her?" I pressed my lips together and said softly, "We do know each other. It's just that you don't realize it. Maybe she's forgotten too." Victoria's expression darkened as she fixed her gaze on me. I let my eyes well up with emotion. "When I was 7, at your grandfather's birthday banquet, my family took me there. Victoria smiled at me and handed me a piece of cake. She frowned, trying to recall the memory, then said with a hint of irritation, 'Just for that?' Seeing that she didn't remember, I felt more assured in my lie. I had chosen this fabricated memory specifically because she wouldn't remember it. Amelia was busy and absent from that banquet. It was just Victoria with her grandfather. With so many people there, and at such a young age, a detail like that would slip anyone's mind. But the real truth was, she had never given me any cake. She hadn't even glanced in my direction. With tears threatening to fall, I insisted with a stubborn vulnerability. Yes, just for that. Before that party, I had been locked in a tiny, windowless room by my stepmother for a whole day and night. It was my birthday and nobody noticed. I didn't get any cake at all. Since my mom passed away, I hadn't had a birthday cake. So when she gave me that piece of cake, that memory stayed with me." Victoria watched my tears, which were now ready to fall. After a long pause, she spoke reluctantly. "So, all that sucking up to Amelia, it was for Victoria?" My lashes fluttered, and a single tear finally escaped, tracing a path down my cheek. "I'm sorry. I heard Victoria was sent abroad after that banquet, and probably wouldn't return. But when I saw you on the rooftop that day, I mistook you for her. So I tried to be nice to you, as if I were being nice to her, to show my gratitude for that cake." Victoria looked at me, her eyes filled with a storm of mixed emotions as she stayed silent. I lowered my head and continued. "But now, I can't trick myself into thinking you're her anymore. I'm sorry." I looked up, tears now falling slowly. Her pupils contracted as if beyond her control. She reached out, as if to wipe my tears, but just as her warm fingers were about to reach my eyes, the suite door slammed open. Amelia stormed in, her face clouded with anger. She was holding a shattered glass, and blood trickled down her hand. I glanced at her, hearing her command softly, "Leo, come here." I remained still, gazing at her, and feigning fear as I subtly stepped behind the person in front of me. Amelia's face darkened even more at my action. "How come you're here?" Victoria shifted slightly, blocking Amelia's view and asking casually. I pretended to be puzzled, then acted surprised as I looked at Victoria. She raised an eyebrow, unfazed, and even offered a playful grin. "Leo, let me introduce myself. I'm Victoria, the one you just confessed to." Before I could speak, Amelia strode over and pulled me forward. "Enough's enough," she declared, looking at Victoria with an expression that left no room for argument. Victoria shrugged and reached out to hold my wrist. "I don't mind. I'm taking him with me. I still have questions for him." Amelia glanced at her sister's hand on my wrist. "Let go. Don't make me repeat myself," she said coldly. The Amelia in front of me was not the one from the live stream chat. This was the real her, powerful and commanding. Victoria hesitated, then loosened her grip. I looked at Amelia and asked softly, "Why didn't you come yourself? I remember texting you." Amelia's jaw tightened for a moment before she fell into silence. Lowering my head with a hint of sarcasm, I smiled faintly. "Were you avoiding me because you thought I'd confess to you?" I continued, seeing her lashes quiver as she opened her mouth to speak. I interrupted her. It doesn't matter. It wasn't meant for you anyway. Thanks for sending your sister. It fulfilled my wish, after all. A confession should be for the one you love, not a stand-in." Amelia visibly winced at the word stand-in, her eyes flashing with irritation. "Leo, I'll give you another chance. Think carefully and say it again." I glanced at Victoria's unreadable eyes, then back at Amelia, who was suppressing her anger. I quipped, "You're the one who pushed her towards me. What's the issue now?" Amelia's eyes twitched. She stood there, stunned, but holding on to me tightly, making it impossible to escape. As the tension in the room reached a breaking point, a guard came in with a phone in his hand. "There's a call for you," he told Amelia softly. As her usual composed demeanor returned, she took the phone. Taking advantage of her distraction, I pulled away and headed for the door. Victoria immediately followed, blocking the guard from coming closer. "Stay put, don't intervene." Amelia, phone in hand, neither stopped the guard nor mentioned the confession again. Instead, she said cryptically, "Leo, I'm hurt. I'm bleeding." My hand hesitated on the doorknob. I turned to the girl standing among the scattered flower petals and said with polite distance, "You should probably get a doctor for that." The streetlights cast a warm, hazy glow in the night. The phone in my pocket had stopped buzzing the moment Amelia showed up, which meant the live stream had likely ended. "Leo, were you serious about what you just said? All that over a piece of cake?" Victoria, who had been trailing along behind me, asked again. I paused under a streetlight, looking toward her in its warm yellow glow. Underneath that pretty exterior was a cruel soul. These people, I thought, they don't understand, respect, or appreciate genuine feelings, yet they constantly seek genuine feelings from others. It's both ironic and amusing. Those who are so good at letting people down are terrified of being let down themselves. Amelia is like that, and so is Victoria. So I decided to join their game, to give them a taste of their own medicine. I kept these thoughts to myself, but showed her a serious expression. "Yes, just because of a cake." Victoria smirked slightly. "So, what do you want? Many people say they like me for my status and my wealth. What about you?" I tilted my head and smiled at her. "Maybe I want more than that. I want you for who you are, and for your sincerity, too." The light stretched our shadows long on the pavement. Victoria's usual mischievous grin slowly faded. After a moment, she coughed lightly and released my hand. Smooth talker. I gently turned her palm up and placed a single piece of fruit candy there. "This was meant for you anyway. I'm just returning it to its rightful owner." Victoria looked at the candy in her palm, a hint of innocent confusion in her eyes. "Sweet. I'm heading back," I said, waving at her. I turned around and wiped the smile off my face as I strode away into the darkness. After some distance, I faintly heard her voice drift on the wind. It really is sweet. When I got home, the sounds of a struggling piano and sharp scolding echoed from the living room. "I've taught you so many times. How can you still play it wrong? How are you going to perform at the birthday party like this? If you can't perform, how will you catch the attention of a good family? What good is raising you? I should never have brought you here." It was my stepmother, berating Alex while hitting his palm with a ruler. Alex is her son from a previous marriage. When my dad met her, Alex was living with his grandmother. Later, my dad saw a photo of him, thought he looked handsome, and decided he could be a social asset, just like how he sees me. So he had her bring Alex to live with us. My stepmother treats me poorly, but she's not much better with her own son now. The only softness she shows is towards the child she's currently expecting. I glanced at the scene, and then headed down to my room in the basement. The helper's room is tiny, but I've decorated it with care to make it my own. I sat on the carpet, pulled out my phone, and opened that strange app again. The confession stream was gone, but a new one had popped up. How many days will it take for a fallen rich kid to woo a wealthy heiress? I clicked on it. It was playing back the scene of Victoria and me under the streetlight. Comments scrolled non-stop. Victoria is so generous, she's even sharing the process with us. But why would Amelia stand in for her sister? That's crazy. Are you placing your bets, folks? I'm betting a month starting today. Yep, I'm saying a week. Why so much faith in him? Victoria definitely got charmed. I never expected her to show such a shy expression. I still think it's a long shot. After all, Victoria's seen everything. I watched the betting amounts under different time frames double and triple. The highest pool had hit 3.7 million. What a bunch of bored rich folks. I coldly poured all the money I had into the 3-day bet. 2 more days, I thought. I want both my revenge and their money. After that call, Amelia seemed to vanish. I didn't see her at school the next day. But after class, Victoria called me. "Leo, I think I have a fever. I'm feeling awful," she said, her voice raspy and weak. I kept a straight face but reacted with deep concern. "How did you get a fever? Have you taken any medicine yet?" Victoria coughed a bit. "No, I don't have any medicine at home. Leo, I want to see you." I gently soothed her. "I'll get some medicine and come over right away. Is there anything you want to eat?" She hesitated for a moment, then mentioned a specific shop. "I want tiramisu from that dessert place in Area A." "Inside," I sneered. It was a 4-hour round trip, yet I readily agreed. "Sure, I'll get it. Drink some warm water for now and wait for me." After hanging up, I glanced at the gloomy, overcast sky and slowly smiled. I bought the tiramisu, and by the time I was heading back, the storm hit, right on cue. When I got out of the cab at Victoria's complex, the driver looked at the pouring rain. "You'll be soaked, kid," he said kindly. "I've got an umbrella if you need it." I smiled and declined, tucking the tiramisu and the bag of medicine into my jacket, zipping it up to my chin before darting out into the deluge. Victoria lived in one of her own large condos. I followed her directions and rang the doorbell. When she opened the door, she stared at my drenched state, stunned for a moment. I knew the streaming camera was hidden somewhere inside, watching this performance. I pulled the 2 dry bags from inside my jacket and smiled. Thankfully, the cake and the medicine stayed dry. Victoria yanked me inside and slammed the door. Her tone was laced with irritation. "Are you stupid? It's raining. Have you ever heard of using an umbrella?" I gently pushed her away a little. "I've got a chill. I don't want to pass it to you. The rain came out of nowhere." I rubbed my wet hands on my jacket, blew on them for warmth, and then placed them gently on her forehead. "The fever's gone down. That's good." Victoria couldn't hold back anymore. She cupped my face and leaned down, but she paused just short of my lips. Her voice softened. "Go take a shower. Don't catch a cold." Standing in her bathroom, I looked at my reflection in the mirror. I looked handsome yet pale, shivering uncontrollably. No amount of heat seemed to warm the chill that had settled deep in my bones. I picked up my phone and opened the app. The live stream showed Victoria in cozy loungewear, sitting on the couch and gazing out the window, lost in thought. The chat was abuzz with surprise at what had just happened. Who wouldn't be moved? He drove for hours in the pouring rain just because she said she wanted cake. And the cake, along with the fever medicine, was wrapped up in his jacket. Not a drop of rain touched it. Seriously, has anyone else ever been treated this way? Suddenly, I didn't want to watch the live stream anymore. Such a genuine display of affection, yet we were treating it like cheap entertainment. "What do you think is on Victoria's mind?" a comment asked. By the way, where's Amelia? I heard her old man called her away. Probably needed her for something. After all, she's the future heir. Can't be as free as Victoria." I watched the chat messages roll in, but felt nothing. The prize pool kept growing. I turned on the shower, letting the hot water pour down my freezing body. One more day, I thought. Those who let people down will be let down in return. That's karma in love. No one can escape it. After showering and getting dressed in some clothes she left for me, there was a knock on the bathroom door. I opened it to find Victoria squeezing in. She grabbed the hairdryer from the cabinet with a look I couldn't quite decipher. "To the couch. I'll dry your hair." I blinked, a bit thrown by this sudden change of pace. On the couch, Victoria sat behind me, the warm air from the dryer slowly working through my hair. I looked out the large window at the city below. The rain was still coming down hard, as if it was trying to drown the whole world. The dryer stopped, and then her arms wrapped around me from behind, her head snuggling into my neck. "Leo, you smell like me now," she whispered. "I used your shampoo and body wash. They smell nice," I replied, looking down. She chuckled softly, a bit of teasing in her voice. I tried to shift away, but her hug tightened. "Leo, tomorrow after school I'll pick you up. We'll go somewhere." I already had a feeling what this was about, but I played it cool, asking softly, "Where to?" "Just wait and see," she murmured against my neck. "All right," I replied. Victoria showed up after school just as she promised. I saw her as I walked through the school gates, leaning against a sleek sports car, looking tall and striking. She always caught people's eyes. I ran over with a smile on my face. "No need to run," she laughed lightly, pinching my cheek. "I'm not going anywhere." By the time we hit the winding mountain highway, it was already getting dark. We climbed out of the car to find a large crowd and a ton of souped-up luxury cars parked around. "Oh, wow. So that's why Victoria was late. She was picking someone up," someone teased. A group of loud, rich kids surrounded us. "First time here?" a girl in a leather jacket asked, reaching a hand out toward me. Before she could even touch my sleeve, Victoria intervened. "Don't." Victoria's tone turned sharp, and the once playful vibe turned awkward. The girl glanced between us, caught on quickly, and laughed. "Oops, my bad. I got the wrong idea. I didn't realize you're the one Victoria so carefully arranged all this for." A voice jumped in to ease the mood. "Victoria, come on. Weren't you aiming for first place today? You've been making big moves." Another person added with a chuckle. "Victoria's always first, you know that. She's scooped loads of money from us." The atmosphere livened up again. Victoria fitted a helmet on my head. "Don't worry," she said, her voice reassuring. "I'm right beside you." A line of cars took off like arrows after the starting flag dropped. The sudden acceleration pushed me back into my seat, making me feel woozy. The winding, hairpin curves made my stomach churn. I clung tightly to the seatbelt, trying to keep my composure. "Leo, are you feeling okay?" Victoria's voice floated through the helmet's intercom. I swallowed hard and answered softly, "I'm all right. Do you always drive this fast? It's kind of worrying." For a moment, the car seemed to ease its speed. The queasy feeling in my stomach started to fade, and the world outside came back into focus. Cars kept zooming past us, their engines roaring. When the last car overtook Victoria's, I finally spoke up. "Your winning streak is going to break, Victoria. You might even get last place." I could almost hear her smile under the helmet. "I don't mind getting last if it means you won't worry." When we reached the finish line, people were already gathered, celebrating. "Victoria, finally I can win some money off you!" someone shouted. Victoria helped me remove my helmet and tossed her hair back. "Take it. But what about what I asked you guys to do?" A girl standing beside us snapped her fingers. "Victoria, look!" We turned around to see the once dark highway light up. transforming into a winding river of starlight. Suddenly, a sparkling, snowflake-shaped pendant necklace dangled in front of my face. Victoria stood next to me, smiling gently. "Leo, be with me." As she spoke, my phone buzzed non-stop in my pocket. The 3-day prize money was in my account. But before I could speak, a distant roar interrupted the moment. Looking up, I saw 4 black luxury cars racing towards us, stopping abruptly before the crowd. Amelia, dressed in a tailored black suit that made her look powerful and commanding, strode over, her face a mask of fury. Everyone who had come for the show was quickly and efficiently escorted off the mountain by bodyguards. The highway, once as bright as day, suddenly fell silent and dark. "You really had the guts to come here, huh?" Victoria didn't even get to finish her sentence before Amelia's fist cut her off, a sharp crack echoing in the sudden silence. I watched the scene unfold, feeling completely indifferent, just wondering how much longer this twisted game could possibly last. Victoria rubbed her right cheek, but didn't get a word out before Amelia grabbed her by the collar, pushing her against a car door. Her voice was low and dangerous. "I thought I said everything ends here. Who gave you the nerve to keep streaming this crap?" Victoria's expression hardened, and her own voice dropped. "Now you're playing the saint? Isn't that a bit rich? The first match, you were on board with it, weren't you? What's one more or less to you? I thought you were busy entertaining Miss Linda from G-City under grandfather's orders. Why are you even here now?" Amelia, holding back her anger, released Victoria and even took a moment to tidy her sister's collar. "It seems like you've had too much freedom here. Game time is over, Victoria. It's time for you to go home." Victoria seemed as if she'd hit a nerve, standing straight as a board. "Amelia?" Amelia tilted her chin slightly upwards, like a queen who would not be defied. "What did you call me?" Victoria gritted her teeth, her jaw tight. After a long, tense pause, she sighed. "I'm begging you." Amelia chuckled, glancing at me. "You'd go back home just to be someone's pet, all over a man? Did you forget how you begged me to find a way to get you out of there?" Victoria stayed silent, looking at me for a long time, then lowered her head in a gesture of mixed avoidance and surrender. Amelia gestured to someone behind her, who opened a car door nearby, signaling for Victoria to get in. "Victoria, you can't have it all." Amelia's voice was soft, almost like a sigh. "You chose freedom, so you can't have everything else you want." Before Victoria left, she glanced back at me one last time. The snowflake necklace was still in her palm. It never made it to its destination. It stayed clenched in her hand, etched deeply into her heart, leaving a scar that wouldn't fade. I was about to call out to her, to twist the knife one last time, when someone grabbed my hand. "Leo, your lies need to end now," Amelia said, looking down at me, emotion swirling in her eyes that I couldn't quite understand. She took me to her private villa. As soon as we were inside, I pulled my hand away. "Amelia, let go," I said, glaring at her and turning to leave. Immediately, bodyguards blocked my way. "Are you planning to lock me up?" I turned back around, yanking on her clothes and pulling her slightly towards me. "Who are you to chase after Victoria?" Amelia let me tug at her, the emotion still roiling in her eyes. I sneered. "Yeah, I was chasing after her, because I like her." Amelia frowned, finally speaking up. "Leo, I told you, your lie is over. I checked into it. Victoria never gave you a piece of cake when you were 7. You two didn't even make eye contact." "So, you figured it out?" I raised my eyebrows, letting go of her clothes. Her throat worked, and her voice came out a bit hoarse. "So, the person you wanted to confess to that day? It was me, not her? Those candies and that charm. They were for me, not her? The one you liked was always me, not her?" Amelia sounded firm, but her voice lacked its usual confidence. I let her go completely, disdainfully fixing the collar of her suit that I had disarranged. My fingers snagged on the red string she wore around her neck. I pulled out the good luck charm she had kept so close. With a sharp yank, the string snapped, leaving a shallow red mark on her skin. "Yeah," I said coldly, "but then I found out you're not worth it." Amelia's eyes tightened. She reached for the charm in my hand, but stopped when she saw my phone. I opened the live stream app. All the videos were gone, but she understood immediately. Her back stiffened. "You knew all along." I looked at her, my expression devoid of any warmth. "Yeah, I knew. Even before the confession, I knew. And I knew that Victoria would show up. Didn't you approve of the whole plan, Amelia? You were the first one to reject my feelings, so what are you doing now? You've known for a long time that I liked you. Did you guide me to confess just for everyone's amusement? Well, were you satisfied with my performance?" As I pushed her with my questions, Amelia had no room to retreat. She lowered her head in front of me, softening for the first time. "Leo, I was wrong about that. I'm sorry." I laughed, a sound full of scorn for her and the entire situation. "I don't accept your apology, Amelia. I'll never forgive you, but I do want compensation." She didn't hesitate. "Okay." Without emotion, I laid out my terms. "I want money." "Okay," she agreed. "When I make movies in the future, when you inherit your family's company, you have to invest. No budget limits." "Okay." Amelia agreed to everything I asked. "Last, let me go, and never appear in front of me again." "No." She lifted her gaze to meet mine, her eyes like deep, mysterious pools. "You really want to lock me up?" My voice rose slightly. Amelia was silent for a while, then said, "I'm not locking you up. I just want you to stay here. After your exams, whatever school you want to go to, I'll have a place ready for you there. I just want to see you," she replied. "Like your dad and your mom?" I blurted out. After I said it, the room went completely still. The air felt heavy and thick. I realized what I had said and blinked, a flicker of remorse crossing my mind. Amelia's parents were a well-guarded secret, but rumors still swirled. Her father had loved her mother obsessively, but her mother didn't feel the same. He kept her locked up, constantly watched. In that twisted, suffocating love, her mother had chosen to leap from a building to her death. Amelia, usually so proud and composed, seemed to crumble bit by bit before my eyes. Even though I hated her for what she'd done, seeing her like this pained me. My eyes stung as I looked away. I thought if I could make her hurt the way she had made me hurt, I would feel satisfied. But in the end, why did it just feel like a dull, throbbing ache? Memories of the elegant girl she once was, bathed in sunshine, flashed in my mind. The girl who said she liked Winter, and then pondered, "But does Winter like me back?" It turns out that hating someone starts with feeling pain for them. After a long silence, her hushed voice broke the quiet. "Leo, we're not like them. They never loved each other. We did—" I blinked back the sting in my eyes, holding it in. "But I don't like you anymore. It could never happen again. What's the difference?" Amelia leaned down, resting her head on my shoulder, her voice almost a plea. "Leo, we're still young. There's so much time. I'll give you whatever you want. Just stay. Give me a chance. I brought all of your things from home. Don't you want a big room, a piano, the swing in the garden, and so much more? I've set it all up. Let me show you, okay? Anything you don't like, I'll change." I listened to her words, all of them sounding strangely familiar, straight from my most private diary entries. "Did you read my diary?" Amelia went silent. I pushed her away. "You're the kind of person who will never learn to respect others. No wonder no one loves you." Loving someone, apparently, gives them the power to hurt you, like I did back then, and like Amelia was doing now. Pain flickered in her eyes, and she murmured, "Sorry, it won't happen again. I'll change. I'll learn." I looked away again. After all that arguing, we had ended with nothing but hurtful words. Amelia didn't let me leave. I looked around the vast, beautifully appointed room. It was exactly like the one I had imagined and described in my diary. I peeked out the window at a swing draped in flowers, swaying gently in the breeze. The closet was full of new clothes, all in my size, some of them costing thousands of dollars. Amelia was like a child learning to walk when it came to love, stumbling and clumsy. But I didn't need it anymore. Love has a time limit. If you miss it, it's just gone. "Leo, dinner's ready." An older woman, the household auntie, gently knocked on my door. I opened it, and she smiled warmly. "Amelia didn't dare come tell you herself. She was afraid you'd skip dinner. So she sent me." She was Amelia's nanny growing up, and acted more like a gentle elder than a housekeeper. Seeing her concerned eyes, I swallowed my refusal and followed her downstairs. Amelia had changed out of her severe suit and into casual black clothes. She was sitting on the couch, looking up when she heard me approach. During dinner, I noticed she was still there, her eyes on a book, but she hadn't turned a single page in a long while. "She's probably scared that if she comes over you'll get angry and stop eating," the auntie whispered to me. I gripped my chopsticks and didn't look at her, just finished my meal. The food was all my favorite dishes, and the chef was clearly excellent. When I wiped my mouth and stood up to leave, Amelia finally spoke. "The basement has a movie room. You love movies, right? If you want classes, I've arranged for a teacher to come over." I had no plans to acknowledge her and was preparing to leave when she hurriedly added, "I've asked Miss Dubois to come by. She'll be around if she's free on weekends. Isn't directing your and your mom's dream?" I finally looked at her. Susan Dubois, the genius director who had recently won international awards for her film, Silent Mountain. I looked at Amelia, my expression polite yet distant. "Thanks, you're really kind." Amelia's eyes dimmed, while the auntie by her side sighed and shook her head. In the following days, Miss Dubois came over nearly every weekend. "Leo, you really have a talent," she told me one afternoon. "I probably inherited it from my mom," I replied with a small smile. She was a film student. She even directed a few small projects, but unfortunately she didn't pursue it. Later she had her works burned onto discs, but they all got ruined. I smiled, speaking to Susan, but inside, the memory was bitter. My stepmother had destroyed them. I had fought her for them, clawing and biting, and ended up locked in the darkroom for a week. It was around then that Alex had started sneaking me food, crying and apologizing. "Leo, I look forward to you entering this field," Miss Dubois said, her presence lively and striking, reminding me of photos of my mom from her film school days. "I'm sure your mom would too." I genuinely smiled. Then I spotted Amelia standing at the garden's edge, watching us. My smile faded away, and I averted my gaze. Recently, Amelia always seemed to be close by, neither too near nor too far. Everything catered to my tastes. The food, the outfits, everything. One day, chatting with the auntie, I mentioned in passing that the garden was a bit dark at night. That very night, from my second-floor window, I saw Amelia on a ladder, painstakingly stringing star-shaped lights on each tree. Auntie handed me a glass of warm water. "Leo, I guess you had a hard time back at your home." I took the cup. "Why do you think that, Auntie?" Softly, she said, "One day Amelia visited your home. She came back and just sat in the living room all night. The next day she began setting all of this up. At the time, I didn't know it was all for you." I sipped the water, having no memory of this visit. I wasn't home then, That must have been when she entered my room and read my diary. Suddenly, the lights outside flickered on. The garden, now adorned with countless starlights, seemed like a midsummer night's dream. I watched the person standing on the ladder, and for a moment I thought of that hotel room filled with flowers. If only, back then, she had stood in that room with the same feelings I had. A few days later, heavy rains hit the city. I was sitting by the window, reading, when I heard voices from downstairs. "You can't go in, Miss Victoria. Please don't make it hard for us." I walked to the door and saw Victoria, soaked to the bone and looking disheveled, being blocked by the guards. Seeing me, she stopped wrestling with them, her eyes red as she stared at me. "Leo, did Amelia lock you up?" I looked at her calmly. "Yes." Victoria seemed relieved, her voice eager. "Do you want to leave? I'm being sent abroad soon. If you want to get out, I'll find a way." Seeing how she must have escaped in such a rush, a faint, cruel smile touched my lips. "Sure," I said. Her eyes lit up for a moment, then dimmed at my next words. "Well, you're dreaming, Victoria. The game is over. You're out." My smile widened. "I know all about your streams, right from the start. From your confession to the 3-day bet, it was all an act. You never brought me any cake. And I never liked you. I did it all as revenge against you and your sister. After all, this whole setup was between you and Amelia, right?" Victoria's voice shook. You knew everything?" I nodded. "Yep, so what dreams were you and Amelia having? Thinking anyone could fall in love with you? It's pathetic." She stood there in the rain, a proud branch now withered and broken. "You hate us." I laughed. "Wrong, Victoria. I don't hate you. Hating someone takes a lot of emotion and energy. I don't just dislike you. No, I detest you. But after I got my revenge, I don't feel anything extra towards you. I just don't want to see you ever again. That's it. Now get out of here." After saying that last line, I turned to head back inside, only to hear her yell, "What about Amelia? Do you hate her?" I stood there for a moment, then turned back to look at her and said, each word distinct and sharp, "I hate her. Out of all of you, I hate her the most, so I will never, ever forgive her." Thunder rumbled in the distance, and the wind blew the rain sideways. As I turned my head, I almost sensed something. Under a black umbrella a short distance away, Amelia stood tall, yet there was a deep-seated sorrow about her that even the storm couldn't wash away. Victoria was taken away again. Before she left, she apologized to me, her eyes red with what looked like sincerity. But to me, it just felt amusing. The mighty fall from their high seats, only to beg at the altar of love, all because they didn't know how to cherish what they had in the beginning. Amelia handed her umbrella to a nearby bodyguard and covered me with a coat from our auntie. "It's chilly outside. Come on in before you catch a cold." I knew she had heard everything, but she pretended not to. Her reminder not to get sick was almost a prophecy. After that day, I came down with a raging fever. The family doctor came by again and again. Amelia stayed by my bedside daily, massaging my arm, which was bruised from the IV drips. As usual, she tried to feed me my medicine, and as usual, I turned my face away. Her voice was barely a whisper. "Take your medicine. You'll feel better soon." I coughed quietly. "Amelia, do you really want to end up like your parents?" I saw her hand tremble for a moment. Then she silently continued to rub my back. "I won't, Leo. I was wrong before. I didn't know what love was. I even despised it, so I made a huge mistake. But I'm learning now. I really am learning how to love someone. Please, just give me more time, okay?" I stared at the soft blanket, then whispered, "Amelia, once I get better, I want you to let me go." The room was filled with warmth from the heater, but it felt cold. After a long silence, she finally responded. "Okay, once you get better, I'll let you go." Having gotten her response, I said, "But before that, I need to see Alex. I have something for him." I finally looked at her again. Her eyes were red and pained, a sight that hurt so deeply it felt like the pain traveled through my own veins to every inch of me. According to our agreement, Amelia brought Alex to see me. Then, she quietly closed the door. "Are you okay? How did you get so sick?" Alex sat by my bed, his face etched with worry. I looked at him, recalling how, when I was kicked out of the master bedroom, he had told our stepmother he didn't want to fight over anything with me, and got slapped for it. After that, he didn't dare speak up again, but he would quietly bring me extra blankets and buy me cozy things from my basement room. He'd sneak me pieces of cake and knock on my door late at night. Our relationship was complicated. I resented him, and he tried to make amends. I wanted to be close, but his guilt made him cautious. Our father was rarely home, and he didn't care for either of us. We were like two fledgling birds in a big, empty house, clinging to each other for warmth despite not being related. "Do you want to be a director?" he had asked me once, his eyes sparkling. I nodded. He sighed. "Having a dream is nice. Unlike me, I don't know what I like or what I want." I snapped back to the present. I waved him over and lowered my voice. "I transferred a sum of money to your account, around 1.7 million. It's the prize money from those 3 days." Amelia knew the betting account belonged to me, but she hadn't said or done anything about it. I took out a portion and put it in Alex's private account. I held his hand to calm his shocked expression. "Don't you want to break free from that cage and pursue acting? Now you can—" He paused, finally realizing. "That live stream? That account was you?" I nodded. Seeing him hesitate to accept the money, I cut him off. "I kept some for myself, and Amelia gave me a hefty sum as well. But you need to do something for me. Find someone to secretly send a message to Amelia's grandfather. Tell him what's going on between me and Amelia right now," I said softly. Alex blinked, but he didn't ask why. He simply nodded firmly. After Alex left, Amelia returned to her usual routine of feeding me medicine and sugar. She didn't ask what we had talked about. It seemed she was indeed learning to respect my privacy. I waited patiently. 2 days later, she took a phone call and went out. I sat in the living room waiting from the afternoon until late at night. When she came back, she brought the chill of the night with her. She looked at me with suppressed emotions in her eyes. Our gazes met for a long time. Finally, she sighed softly, picked up the blanket from the couch, and knelt in front of me. "Why don't you cover up with the blanket, or wear more clothes? Have you eaten? Did you take your medicine today?" I placed my hand on the blanket, close to her hand. "Amelia, I'm leaving tomorrow. I've already packed my bags." Her jaw was clenched tight. Time ticked by slowly. She couldn't take the silence any longer. She stood up, covered her eyes for a moment, and then looked at me. "Leo, I agreed to let you go, but you're still sick. Why did you insist on having Grandpa contacted? Don't you know how terrified I am that something will happen to you? Don't you trust me?" After she finished, she realized what she had just said and forced a sad smile. "Leo, you saw this coming, didn't you? You knew I wouldn't let anything happen to you, and that Grandpa would use you against me so I couldn't get close to you. No, wait. Ever since that confession broadcast, you've had this whole thing planned out. You got what you wanted, didn't you? You got your revenge, and you'll leave unscathed." I couldn't help but smile, too. That's the clever Amelia, I know. But this plan had its risks. I was gambling, too. I was gambling on the depth of your feelings for me. And clearly, I won. We locked eyes, our roles completely reversed. She had fallen from her lofty heights to be humbled, and I had moved from unrequited love to a cold indifference. I had loved Amelia. Amelia had loved me, but we were never in love with each other at the same time. She stood there in the vast living room, looking trapped, as if she were sinking in quicksand. When I got up to head to my room, her weary voice stopped me. "Before you leave, can I have the charm back?" I looked down at her and replied softly, "No. I got that after going down on my knees in a temple. Unworthy people don't get to wear it." I slowly climbed the stairs, feeling as if I were being reborn. Amelia remained where she stood, drowning in her own self-made despair. That night my sleep was restless. I dreamt of a gentle kiss on my forehead, accompanied by the faint, salty trace of tears. In the morning I was heading out with my luggage when I noticed Amelia, her eyes bloodshot. She took my suitcase silently. "I'll drive you to the airport. Don't worry. I haven't looked into where you're going." Watching her retreating figure, I quietly held on to the charm resting against my chest. The car ride was silent. At the airport, Amelia unloaded my bags and spoke softly. "Call me if you're short on money, or if you'd rather not, call Auntie." I listened quietly. The money she had given me would last a lifetime. She went on. "Auntie really likes you. She couldn't come today because she didn't want to cry. If you're ever wronged, call us. Make sure you eat well, sleep well, and stay happy." Keeping my silence, I just nodded. Then she said, "I'll follow through on my promise. I won't interfere with your movies, but the company will still invest. I hope one day you'll become a great director." I smiled at her, a genuine smile, for what felt like the first time in ages. Goodbye, Amelia. I transferred to my mom's hometown and gradually moved away from everything in my past, although I always kept the charm with me. Later, I got into a prestigious film school and made a lot of like-minded friends. On graduation day, I visited the cemetery. My mom's photo was on the headstone, and she was smiling gently. "Mom, I graduated," I said, sitting on the ground before her. "Your son is going to be a great director. I've grown up healthy, and I've been eating and sleeping well." Time flew. A few years after graduation, I ran into Alex. He had made a name for himself and was cast in a supporting role in Miss Dubois' new film. I was on set to observe and learn. Back home, due to Amelia's silent targeting, my family's finances were tight. My father was asking everyone for help and had even called me and Alex, but neither of us answered. My stepmother's pregnancy hadn't made it in the end. During a break, Miss Dubois sipped her coffee and asked, "Leo, do you still talk to Amelia?" I realized the ice in my drink had completely melted, and I shook my head, feeling a strange confusion. She was unaware of the full story between us and just thought we were a young couple who had broken up. Seeing my reaction, she quickly changed the topic. "When does your first movie come out?" "January," I replied, holding my cup, my mind drifting again. At home, I instinctively opened a closet and saw a wool coat hanging inside. Over the years, I had bought many expensive coats, but this particular one I had neither worn nor thrown away. After leaving that city, I had found this coat packed neatly in my luggage, covered in a dust bag. I didn't know when Amelia had placed it there. It's the only piece of clothing from her I still had. Feeling the dust bag, I suddenly got an urge to take the coat out. As I did, a tiny USB drive dropped out of its pocket. I picked it up, took a deep breath, and plugged it into my computer. The folder was named Winter. Inside were all of my mom's little home videos, many of which I thought were lost forever. I had no idea how Amelia had managed to find and restore them. Scrolling further, a video named Birthday caught my eye. When I opened it, my mom's face, just as I remembered her, filled the screen. "Today, my baby was born," she said, her voice full of love. "We'll call him Leo, don't mind the simplicity. The simpler the name, the better. It means he'll thrive." The video continued through each birthday of my early childhood. Today, my winter baby is 1. Happy birthday, stay safe, healthy, and live a long, smooth life. Today, my winter baby is 2. After my mom's videos were destroyed, I had written down every line I could remember, sticking the notes in my diary, imagining that seeing the words could bring back some of her essence. And now, thanks to Amelia using technology to restore them, they were here, hidden all this time. Over the years, I would occasionally hear news about Amelia. I'd listen to the gossip about her engagement, her takeover of the company, and then her subsequent breaking off of the engagement. She kept her promise. My film received a significant investment from her company, with no interference from her. When the movie started filming, coffee, drinks, and nutritious, balanced bento boxes were constantly delivered to the entire crew, all from companies under her family's corporate umbrella. On the day we wrapped up filming, it snowed heavily. Amidst the laughter and joyful celebrations of the cast and crew, I saw a lone figure standing far away through the snowy scene. As soon as I set my eyes on her, she turned around silently and walked away. Just like she said she would, she was learning to respect my space, learning not to show up and disturb me. On New Year's Day, I sat in a crowded theater with a mask on, watching the beginning of my first movie. There were laughs and tears from the audience, and the feedback seemed good. I smiled gently along with everyone else. As the ending credits rolled and the song played, everyone got up to leave. The house lights suddenly came on. Looking at the scrolling names, I whispered into the air, "How was it, Mom?" Through the moving crowd, a slight breeze touched my hair, like a gentle, encouraging hand. I stood up, smiling. "I'm so happy I didn't disappoint you." When I left the theater, snowflakes were falling from the dark sky. The first snow of the season had arrived. Amidst the hustle and bustle of the city street, I glanced over at a woman standing under a giant electronic billboard. She seemed to have lost some weight and looked like she had just come out of the theater, too. Maybe we had even been in the same screening, sitting in seats where we couldn't see each other. Snow landed on her delicate profile, like a lingering kiss. She watched the billboard for a long time, and finally a soft smile broke across her face. I looked up and saw that it was my movie poster. I placed my hand over my heart, sensing the amulet underneath my shirt burning with a familiar warmth. After a moment, I turned and walked in the opposite direction, moving further and further away into the snowy night. I had said I wouldn't like her again, that I wouldn't forgive her. But it seemed she had been waiting all along. Just like at the villa that year, when I stepped up the stairs one at a time, running towards my freedom, while she stayed behind, trapped in a self-imposed prison of her own making. The boy who once said he loved winter under the sun is, in the end, trapped in winter, while the girl who once said she liked winter has learned to find her own summer.